Hi, I'm Ria, and welcome to Sports with Ria. Hi, I'm Ria, and welcome to Sports with Ria, where we use this platform to share the stories of athletes to pursue your dreams. That's it. It's pretty simple. Sports is like everything to me. It's life. It's entertaining. It's powerful. It brings communities together. It transcends socioeconomic backgrounds, cultural differences. Like I said, most of all, it's entertaining. And I wanted to share with you how I got my start in sports, where it all started. This is a long time coming. I will say, I think last year in October, I had an experience where I was invited by the U.S. Army, and specifically the U.S. Army Seattle Recruiting Battalion, to skydive in October. And so what they did is they flew some of us down in California and we jumped. I think it was October 18th, and I'll never forget that day because it changed my life. 12,500 feet, 120 miles per hour free fall before the second parachute was deployed. And I never thought I would do something like that. That was not on my bucket list, but it was a gift truly from God. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity. It showed me that some things are presented to you and you have to take advantage of it. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't know how it would change my life, but I can see as a result of just being willing to do that. Like I said, it was an all expense paid trip. And if I was going to do something like that, I would do it with the best, and they are the best.
All right. That is 120 miles an hour, 12,500 feet. How are you feeling?
Oh my God, amazing. That was crazy, exhilarating. Goggles were all over the place. I remember talking to Sierra Stark, shout out Sierra, and she invited me and she said, "Do you want to go skydiving?" And I was like, yeah. And she goes, "But the Golden Knights." And I was like, "The Golden Knights? Okay, yeah, I like hockey." She was like, "No, the U.S. Army." And I was like, yeah, definitely, because I knew I was in good hands. And so since that day, a lot of fear has left. Some people say fear is false evidence appearing real. It can be irrational, it can hold you back. And I think that was the best decision I ever did because it allowed me to just go forward. And I always constantly remind myself whenever I am fearful or hesitant to pursue something that I believe is for me and it's what I really want to do, I tell myself, "Girl, you jump from a plane. Like, what is there that you can not do?" And so I am here today as a result of jumping from that plane and finally doing what I know I'm meant to do. And that is to share how the stories of athletes can inspire you all who are listening to pursue your dreams. And so I want to start with how I got my start with sports, and that is through my father, Sammy Kimball. So I'll never forget this. I think I was like 6 or 7 years old, and I remember particularly every Sunday, this man would be glued to the television like this, laying on his stomach. And my sister, my mom, and I would be going to church, and we'd just be like, "Bye, man." He'd be like, "Bye," you know? And at that time, I think sports was his religion in a way, right? Like, it's not God or anything, but that was his sanctuary. And so this man was dedicated to watching sports. And I remember my sister and I, my dad was the best. He would always play with us, but not when sports was on, okay? So we had to wait our turn. And sometimes that can be hours, especially during the NFL season. Okay, he didn't just watch his team, which was the Seattle Seahawks. It was all things football, all things basketball, right? Baseball, whatever it was. So we would have to wait to play with him. I remember being so irritated because I wanted to play with my dad, but I knew I was not the priority during that time. So I had to make what they call a business decision. And the light bulb went off. And so I was like, okay, I have two options here. I could sit and watch sports with my dad, be irritated and all, and be bored. Okay, this is me at 6 or 7 years old. Or I could just wait until the game was over. And I don't know, I mean, that could have been hours from now. So I decided to sit with him. And I remember just huffing and puffing inside, and I just thought, this was so stupid. And then something happened. A yellow flag was thrown. Now this is during an NFL game. And I remember, like it was yesterday, my dad calling out the play before the referee announced the infraction. And so my dad would be like, offsides. And I remember looking at him like, how do you know that? And then he began to teach me what to look for. And so I thought that was so cool to be able to learn the game from my father, not only spend time with him, but just really understand the game, right? I never played football before, but I was taught like formations, plays, what the penalties were, like before even they actually fully unfolded on the field. And so he began to teach me that, and it would be, it was fun. And I knew what to look for. And so that kind of just planted a seed in my mind. And I'm like, okay, this is not that bad. This is actually really fun. So life didn't exactly just change as quickly as I snapped my fingers, but it did plant a seed. And from then on, I decided to watch the game with my dad. My dad grew up with three, two of us, my sister and I, and then his wife, my mom. So he was the only male, in the house. So I became kind of like his little buddy to watch sports with. And I think we're all a sports family. So that's pretty cool. But I can definitely attribute my passion and love of the game with my father. And so that game was, I don't know if it was the Seahawks playing, but I definitely think it was the Raiders. But anyways, I'm a hometown girl. I love my hometown sports team. So that's why I'm wearing the Seahawks, because it's one of the fondest memories I had growing up watching the Seahawks when they were in the Kingdom days. I think Dennis Erickson might have been the coach at the time. You had John Kitna at quarterback. So that was just a really, really good time in sports. I think it was like the blackout games too. Back then, you had to have the stadium sold out before it would be broadcasted on television, I think at the time. So don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure that's how it worked back then. So I have been watching the Seahawks since they've been in the AFC West, and then they went to the NFC West, where they are right now. So that kind of started my love of sports and just watching it with him. Ironically though, I will say that football, even though it's my first introduction to sports, is not my first love. It's actually baseball. And that's more because of the nostalgia with it. I always think of just Sandlot. If you haven't watched that movie, just watch it. It has all of the feels and everything. And so baseball kind of just reminds me of that, just that feel of it. And so that's pretty much how I got my start. I would love to hear your stories, how you got first introduced to sports. What were those pivotal moments that made you fall in love with the game? What is your favorite sport? I think mine's, I wouldn't say I have a favorite sport. Maybe I lean towards football, college, and professional, but I also love baseball. I will always have a soft spot for baseball. So I'll share a little bit later what that pivotal moment was. But if you stay tuned, you're gonna learn a lot more. And again, I would love to hear from you. So thank you for listening, and put your comments in the chat and let me know what you think.